Hello guys, this is Movie Lover and welcome to this Movie Lover world. The film begins with a news broadcast. The report contains information about Admiral General Aladdin's dictatorial rule over his nation. He is the son of Colonel Aladdin, a dictatorial and savage leader. He was born in and never knew his mother, as it was widely believed that she died shortly after giving birth to him, but a doctor assassinated her. He is well known for his beard, ignorance, and the gold medals he has earned in his self-created competition. He obtained the medals by defrauding his competitors by shooting them before they pass him and controlling the crew to adjust the finish line close to him. The news revolves around the issue of nuclear weapons. Aladdin doesn't know the other see it and results in the public becoming doubtful and upset with him. He continually finds a method to evade these escalating challenges, however, until he makes a statement on his palace that 2 months later everyone will bow in front of their magnificent nation as they enrich uranium for peaceful purposes in medical research. His ignorance captivates his audiences, but he doesn't know that everyone only is here because of their fear of him. When Aladdin enters their laboratory, his uncle Tamir greets him by smelling his armpit. He speaks with the scientists about revealing their nuclear weapon, but Aladdin is dissatisfied with the conclusion. In the searches for Nadal, his scientist, then the present scientist, informs him that he has already sacked him. Aladdin begins to recall the incident, recalling that he executed him as a result of their quarrel, reiterates the appearance of a nuclear weapon as depicted in cartoons, since scientists contradicts everything he says. He gets sentenced to death, and later he tells his current scientist that he recalls it, but he feels insulted, so he executes him. Uncle Tamir convinces him to speak the truth in the United Nations about the absence of nuclear weapons, hoping that the sanction against him would be lifted and they will be allowed to export wadi as oil. Aladdin disagrees, stating that he will not sell wadi as oil to anyone. He is shot in the head as he exits his gold vehicle. He did to show the world as might, but in truth, it's simply another person with the same face, due to the fact that the only person who resembled him is no longer living. They decided to look for someone who does. Fortunately, they find someone who fits their criteria and grooms him to look like him, including shortening his eggplant. In the next scene, Aladdin is having a pleasurable night with Megan Fox. After Aladdin induced himself with Megan's hole of wonders, they quickly snap a picture and Megan departs, as she still has a round two with the Prime Minister. As much as Aladdin wants her to stay, Megan has to leave, so he obtains their photograph and posts it on his wall. We can see several pictures that he takes to the Kingdom of Pleasure, including several prominent Hollywood figures. The following day, Uncle Tamir informed Aladdin that the United Nations have invited him to give information about nuclear weapons. As a result, Aladdin convenes a meeting with his generals to reveal his scheme. He informs them that he would travel to America and speak for hours using baby noises in order to ensure that they would not understand him. Aladdin makes his way to America. The public greets him with a rally expressing their contempt for him. However, he remains unconcerned. His entrance is opulent. It appears to be a parade with his female guards, whom he keeps their virginity in various sports cars. He is currently staying at the Lancaster Hotel. There he meets Mr. Clayton. He identifies himself as a guard. In order to bolster his security, they customizes his room to his specifications. That night he is kidnapped and taken to a secluded location where he is tortured before killing him. At first, Aladdin is on concert because he expresses his opinions regarding the weapons. Mr. Clayton, the kidnapper, tortures him. He trims Aladdin's beard and fires it, but the attempt fails. When the flames collide with his body, Aladdin is able to escape as the flame scorches handcuffs. There he convinces a bypasser to exchange his garments and promises to offer him something in exchange after a while. Aladdin persuades the guard that he is Aladdin, but he finds out that Uncle Tamir uses his look-like to take over his speech. Aladdin is enraged. He yells foul language and the protesters imitate him. Believing he is leading the protest chant, the fake Aladdin begin his speech. However, he shows his extremely bubbling manner in front of the audience. He drinks from the pitcher and then pees on it. He raises the picture to showcase his pee and then consumes it. Everyone is uneasy at the moment due to his actions, but he subsequently delivers his written speech, which contains the long-awaited democracy in Wadia. Additionally, he claims that he will sign the paper, and 5 days later, on what Wadi is Independence Day, his speech ends up being a source of excitement for everyone. Oladine explodes in anger and swiftly climbs the fence to defend his belief that the residents of Wadia like oppression, but the police apprehend Oladine by gunning him water. Zoe transports him to her vehicle in order to save him. There she begins her introduction. She asserts boldly that she is a vegan feminist and a non-profit cooperative functioning within an anti-racist and anti-oppressive framework for people of all genders or none. However, Oladine continues to be impolite and unpleasant. Zoe reminds him that her entire staff is made out of former political refugees. Oladine then begins insulting her store and employees. Zoe confronts him about his inappropriate behavior and he exits the store shortly. Oladine is alone wandering the place until he sees Nadal. He follows him everywhere until he reaches the Death of Oladine restaurant. The customers there recognize his face. He covers up himself, but he fails. Then Nadal intervenes and saves him. Alad begins telling him everything and Nadal strikes a deal. He offers to save him, but he has to make him the head of nuclear research. Oladine agrees. Metal and Oladine are now roaming the place. There he sees Zoe having a gate pass. Nadal tells him that he needed her to enter the site, so Oladine immediately heads to Zoe's store and apologizes. He also tells her that he wants to work, so Zoe allows his work on her store out of her kindness, but Aildin messes everything. Nadal intends to take a helicopter ride as a tourist to inspect the Lancaster Hotel's weak points. He informs Oladine that he must behave naturally. Still, during their ride, Oladine and Nadal continue to speak their language, which their colleagues misunderstand, and as a result they end up in jail. Then Zoe makes her way to the jail to defend him. Oladine is taken aback by Zoe's determination to save him. Oladine is successfully freed following the argument, and Uncle Tamir sees him on the news and instructs Etri to invade him. They are now at the store. Oladine is hugely grateful to Zoe, and as a token he offers his banana to her, but so he declines. Zoe notices that he is acting strangely and confronts him, asking if he has ever had masturbation, to which he responds forthrightly. Thus Zoe tells him how to do it. Oladine obeys all of her commands until he achieves the pinnacle of satisfaction. After finishing the activity, he proudly exits the room and informs everyone in the facility about his experience, which he refers to as self-juicing. On the rooftop, Zoe and Oladine are caressing each other and he kisses her out of his love for her. After that, Zoe confesses her feelings and Oladine reveals that he is not Allison but the Admiral General Oladine of Wadia. Zoe gets shocked by his confession and she asks him to leave Oladine as wandering around the city alone. He feels depressed, reflecting on how he lost his wealth. Also, he sees on the screen how people express their anger and hatred against him. As a result, he heads on the bridge to commit suicide. But Nadal comes into the picture, then asks Saladin what he is doing there and then tells him that he keeps texting him 7 times. Oladine is determined to end his life, but it all tells him that he is the last dictator of this world and has to continue his legacy up to the next generation. The day has come, everyone as excited as they are going to welcome their new chapter of life. Nadal uses a self-made tool to get into the room of the fake Oladine. Afterward he uses it, but it fails. Because he is heavy, he then uses it, but it fails due to his weight. Thus he discards everything that causes him to become heavy, even his poop, and quickly enters the room successfully. He directs his lookalike to go, and Uncle Tamir then enters the room to get him. The paper is about to be signed by him, but he reveals who he is and tells that Uncle Tamir has assigned someone to assassinate him. Everyone is stunned now. After the revelation, Aladdin strips out the Constitution. He begins to tell that he will not sign the paper and tries to enlighten how bad democracy is, but his decision flips when he sees Zoe's eyes. He revokes what he said and declares that democracy is now approved. Zoe sprints to him, intending to kiss him. She adores his decision, and Oladine tells her that he wants her to be one of his wives, but later revokes it. Zoe and Oladine are now at the palace. The entire Wadia is now rejoicing on their wedding. The film concludes with Inval demonstrating his new bomb following his previous standards. Thanks for watching. Movie Lover will meet you again with new story. Till take care.